Are we headed into the fabled crypto bull run in 2025? Or will this be the first ever crypto cycle without a parabolic crypto period? In this video, I dive into all the details, taking a look at the crypto markets from a macro viewpoint, the big picture when it comes to liquidity and how that could flow into crypto, and overall what a Trump presidency means for the crypto market and our chances at a 2025 crypto bull run. Keep in mind, this is just my personal thoughts and obviously not investment advice of any kind. Okay, so are we heading into a 2025 bull run? There are obviously a ton of factors to look into when it comes to determining if we are or aren't heading into a 2025 bull run. But first, let's take a look at one of the biggest shifts in recent weeks, and that's Trump winning the presidency. Trump winning the presidency and the Republicans winning both the House and the Senate is massively bullish for crypto. Like, it is unhinged how bullish this is for crypto, and I really don't think most people are currently appreciating just how insane of a shift this really is. Let's start with the fact that this first off means that Gary Gensler is out. He's gone. Under Gary Gensler, the SEC has done quite literally everything in their power to try to snuff out crypto. Not by actually doing their job and going after the bad guys or the bad actors in the crypto market, which there are plenty of those to go after, but by unconstitutionally going after the good actors and the good players in the space. And over the past 2 years, the SEC has been handed loss after loss in the court system because these projects have been taking the SEC to court. They have not been letting these things remain unchallenged. And we've had things happen like the SEC gets sanctioned for lying and misleading the courts. But regardless of them taking all these losses in courts and just watching their reputation go down the drain, they have caused a ridiculous amount of damage to the crypto ecosystem by slowing everything down, creating regulatory uncertainty, creating a lot of fear in the markets where people just don't know, if they're able to do this or that. And if they do the wrong thing, they might get a letter from the SEC. And even if they do all the right things, they might get a letter from the SEC. It has just overall been a nightmare for the crypto industry for the last couple of years. Under Trump, Gary is out. And the hope and expectation is that we will get somebody heading the SEC that is far more reasonable when it comes to regulation in the crypto markets. And this one move alone is insanely bullish for crypto. If you have been sticking around over the past 2 years in crypto, you understand that this is insanely bullish for the crypto markets. Crypto has been struggling because we have no legal guidance as to what crypto is allowed to do or not allowed to do. And that just pushes a lot of builders out of the space who are just too afraid to touch crypto. Because if they do, they know they could face all these legal consequences. And even if, they know ultimately they're going to win in the court system, that's years and years of going through this legal process that just most people don't want to do. But now we are going to have the guidance and clarity to allow these builders to simply build good products. But maybe like 1,000x more bullish than that is the fact that you have people like Elon Musk, Vivek, Trump, who are heavily pushing to deregulate and downsize the bureaucracy within our government. I'm talking about the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE. Elon is the one that named it that. I don't know if he's just joking about the name or if he's actually going to get away naming it that, but whatever he calls it, the purpose of it is to deregulate and remove bloat. We have currently over 400 government agencies, and the US has only existed for 240 years, meaning we're basically creating 2 new government agencies every single year. And with so many of these regulations, it's a wonder that anything gets done in this country. For example, California has been building their high-speed rail since the 90s. And despite spending $11 billion on this thing, they haven't even laid a single track down. And some estimates currently put this project at over $100 billion just to complete. Regulation is a massive burden to anything getting done. Deregulation would open the doors for innovation, far less legal overhead, and actual progress. And in the crypto space, this would be massive. Currently, many of the best use cases for crypto are blocked by regulation. This is why we have all these governance tokens in crypto instead of revenue profit sharing tokens. It's why everything is blocked for US residents. If you're a US resident and a project wants to give you free money, airdrops worth sometimes thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, you are not allowed to accept that airdrop because of regulation in the United States today. This is why projects don't just fair launch a token. We used to have ICOs in crypto where any average person could participate in the fundraising of a project really early on. It's the same as any VC. And this was amazing for some of those early projects because you were getting on the ground floor and you got to ride that whole thing all the way up. Now, instead, we have all these VC launch tokens that launch at these massive multi-billion-dollar valuations and basically go down only. It's not good for investors. It's not good for VCs. It's not good for the project. It's not good for anyone. However, when you remove a lot of this unnecessary regulation, you open up the floodgates. This deregulation process might be the single most bullish thing for crypto ever. Now, a lot of people, when Elon was talking about this, when Vivek was talking about this, were saying that there's no way Elon was going to be able to pull this off. It would require not only a Trump presidency, but you'd have to have Republicans holding majority in both the House and the Senate, and that just wasn't going to happen. But to most people's surprises, Republicans did win both the House and the Senate by a landslide, meaning there is a lot higher of a probability that they actually pull something like this off. And if there's anyone on the planet who could pull this overall mission off of massively deregulating the government, it would be someone like Elon, who is hyper efficient with his own businesses, who is able to go into a business, gut it down to the bare essentials, and keep it operational. He has done this time and time again with his own companies, and I believe he could do something similar when it comes to the US government if he was given the power to do so. It seems like a very American principle that if you have money, if you've made money as an adult, you should be able to spend and invest that money wherever you see fit, and the government shouldn't be telling you what to do with your own money. On top of all this, a ton of pro-crypto candidates were elected to office. During the election, crypto was actually the single biggest PAC donating to candidates. And out of the candidates that the biggest crypto super PAC ended up supporting and backing, 48 out of 48 ended up getting elected into office. Congress is now packed with pro-crypto candidates, meaning we are primed for some insanely favorable policy and regulations in the crypto space. And on top of all this, we were also promised by Trump, JD Vance, and RFK a national Bitcoin reserve, which if this actually happens, it is one of the most insanely bullish things physically possible for the price of Bitcoin. And I'm going to jump into that in just a second, but really quick. The Obsidian Council is my private research community where I share monthly research, my entire portfolio, buy and sell alerts whenever I buy into a project, and a ton more. We've had projects like Akash, which is up over 955%, projects like Pendle, which is up over 1,400%, projects like Solana, which is up over 1,000%, and a ton more. The Obsidian Council is currently closed, and my waitlist has been growing a lot in the past few weeks as the market has been heating up. If you want to join the waitlist and have a chance to get in next time it opens up, make sure to join the waitlist in the description of this video. We were promised by Trump, JD Vance, RFK, a Bitcoin strategic national reserve. And I personally believe that Trump will end up fulfilling this promise. Trump has an NFT collection on Polygon, his own DeFi protocol on Ethereum, and he owns both Bitcoin and Ethereum. JD Vance owns a ton of crypto. RFK owns a ton of crypto. Howard Lutnick, the chair of Trump's transition team, said he owns tons of Bitcoin. I believe there is an extremely high chance that the Trump administration ends up making good on this promise. And if the United States has a strategic Bitcoin reserve, that is going to mean every other nation on the planet will have to at least consider whether they should also have a strategic Bitcoin reserve as well. And if more and more countries start doing this, it will send the price of Bitcoin to the stratosphere. Meaning not only will it pump Bitcoin, but the amount of wealth effects that end up bleeding into all Ethereum, all the alts, etc., is going to be insane. We also have things like Trump wanting to cut taxes, which cutting taxes is always insanely bullish for the market. And there's probably more things that I'm forgetting. There's like so many different things that come with this administration that is very, very bullish for the crypto space as a whole. You can see that playing out on a short term over the past couple of weeks with how the market is reacting to the news of his presidency. But even with the insane move we've seen in the crypto market so far, I think the market is vastly underestimating how massive of a shift this new administration represents for the crypto space. So a Trump presidency, in my opinion, significantly increases our chances of a crypto bull run in 2025. But what about outside of Trump? Like, what are the other macro forces looking like? And how does that play into our odds of having a bull run in 2025? Well, in my opinion, everything really ends up coming down to liquidity. Like, what is liquidity doing? That's going to tell you what's going to happen next with the crypto markets and the markets as a whole. And the current setup for global liquidity is insanely bullish. First off, we have rate cuts from the Fed. I've talked about this a lot before. Well, we've already had 2 rate cuts so far, and obviously more are expected. And these rate cuts are a massive liquidity unlock for the markets. Again, I've talked about this before. I'm not going to go into a ton of details about how that works, but just know, just imagine when the Fed cuts rates, there's a lot of liquidity that's kind of like pent up behind this dam, just like an ocean of liquidity. And when the Fed cuts low enough, it's kind of like that dam lowering a little bit, and that liquidity spills into the markets. and just causes the value of everything to go up. We also have China doing stimulus due to their real estate crisis they're going through, which the amount of stimulus that China is about to pump into the market is going to be insane. We have a lot of Europe also cutting rates and the Fed potentially ending QT by the end of 2024. And zooming out for like an even bigger picture of the current liquidity situation and where liquidity is unlocking and inevitably going to flow into the crypto markets. If you look at demographics, we have a ton of liquidity unlocking over the next 2 decades via what's called the Great Wealth Transfer. This is over $70 trillion worth of capital that's going to transfer from the older generation to the younger generation. Currently, the older generation just doesn't touch crypto as a whole. It's too complicated for them. They're not interested in it. They don't understand it, but they have the vast majority of the wealth. And the younger generation is huge on crypto, massive investors when it comes to digital assets, but they have the vast minority of the wealth. Well, this wealth is going to be transferring from the older generation, the $70 trillion, to the younger generations over the next 2 decades. And that's going to be a constant stream of liquidity that is going to be flowing into the crypto markets, pushing asset prices up. On top of that, if you watched my recent video on the US debt crisis, you know that the only way we get out of this $35 trillion of debt we currently have is to continually inflate away the debt. And that means more and more money printing, and that's more and more liquidity coming into the market, pushing asset prices higher. Overall, I am massively bullish when it comes to crypto in 2025. I think we have a really high chance of seeing a crypto bull market in 2025, just like we saw in 2021, like we saw in 2017. In fact, I've been saying that for the last 2 years, that I believe that late 2024 into 2025, we would see a crypto bull market kick off. And it seems like we're seeing the start of that already. And I personally think if all these things come to fruition and all these things come together, that not only will we see a bull market in 2025 similar to 2017 and 2021, but potentially we could see the biggest single crypto bull run we've ever seen. If you're interested in joining the Obsidian Council, again, there's a link in the description of this video. Make sure to sign up for my free weekly crypto newsletter. It's mostly just all my content I put out each week in an easy email so you don't miss it. But occasionally I drop some other cool stuff in there as well, including sometimes I mention things I'm buying before I ever talk about it on my YouTube channel. Also, if you really want to dive deep, make sure to check out my weekly podcast, the 1 to 1 Million podcast. I interview projects, talk about the markets, and interview various traders and experts in the crypto space. Again, these are just my personal thoughts and opinions. None of this is investment advice. As always, if this video is helpful, make sure to hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments or anything to add, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it to be notified each time I release a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.